All right, here we go. Here we go. Audio check one, two, three. Looks like we have audio, we have video. Cool, we're good. All righty. So, good morning. Good morning. We're about 2 minutes until open here on NQ, and let's get the chart all set up. So, and figure out where we're at and what we're doing. Got the 9:30 open coming up right there. Blue dotted line. We'll get ES. We'll get YM up on the screen, and kind of got a bit of a excuse me, mixed bias today. The daily is bullish. We're closing these up close candles here. We inverted this inversion. Um, the current day already rebalanced all the way down to the previous day's candle and retested this high up in here. So to me, this is bullish. We do have some inefficiency down below. It might want to come for it. But when I look at the 1 hour, it's it's ranging. It's unclear. It's not. It's got a bunch of bearish SMT. So when we look at this here, even this previous hour candle, we've already violated that low of that range. So we're just kind of starting to form an accumulation, an ascending triangle of sorts. So making me feel a little bearish despite the bullish order flow on the daily. So the narrative is a little bit different than my bias. But that said, I don't really have anything to do at the moment. So here's the open. We've got some reasonable volatility actually. So here below we have some equal lows resting right there. And then we have Asia's low. Previous day equilibrium is right above. So that sounds like ICT is live streaming right now. I don't know if you, I guess you can't hear that. I don't have it set to put the audio from a browser into Streamlabs here. So, all right, so look at that candle. Pretty indecisive, but then we get some aggressive push up. Looks like YM. A little more clear on YM. It did a stop hunt potentially. So, kind of waiting and seeing. I'm going to go over here to the 15-minute chart. So this fair value gap, this bearish fair value gap, rejected this rejected price at 9:30. We can see here is the regular trading hours gap. Here's the open, here's the close. It rebalanced to about almost 75%. Now here's this volume imbalance that I had noted on the 15-minute. Currently, markets are not in sync. YM is leading with strength. ES is in the middle, and NQ is lagging with weakness. we do have this rejection block here. Mark that out. We have this little gap. So here on the 4-hour, excuse me, the 1 hour, then here on the 4-hour, let's see what we see. If there's anything, really it's just this liquidity pull down here. And I guess we can mark that out as a rejection block too. Looks pretty significant. Nice big wick. All right, that's Asia low has just been taken. Little fair value gap left right there. Now this is making me like longs. I like that New York midnight is way above us. Um, just need to see what I want to see. We just swept session liquidity. Though I do think it's worth noting on my chart. It's just well, that's way down there. That's the previous day low. And just to start preparing in case something presents itself. What we got? 78 ticks. Roughly 6 contracts. Wonder what it's reaching for down there. Because at this point, it blew through the consequent encroachment of the rejection block on the 1 and the 4-hour, tapping into a 4-hour fair value gap and 1-hour fair value gap currently. All right, just kind of sizing things up. What are we at? So it's 38 after. Okay. Just kind of chilling. Looks like YM is still pushing. think it wants lower. Got this previous day low right down there. New York PM session high right there. If it wanted to go, it wouldn't have rejected off of this inversion like that. And it feels pretty close to the previous day low. Which we have a daily volume imbalance right down in here. We also have a value gap right down in there. What's that? So 690 ticks, 173 handles. All right, so just kind of consolidating here after um, this push down. I want to see it push down once more. That's what I'd like to see. All right, there. Oh, almost. Come on. Come on. There we go. All right, so if it forms a nice inversion here, I'd be interested in longs at this level too. Hmm. Shoot, looks like it doesn't have an inversion. There's that little tiny guy. Hey, it's heavy. Volume imbalance right there. Looking like it might want to come for New York AM high and this previous Asia low that have been unmitigated, in addition to some equal lows down in here. Well, I was right, at least, in that I felt like it was a little heavy, despite the bullish narrative on the daily. Let's actually look at the daily chart real quick. So here we can see this candle today is rebalancing back into this previously open fair value gap. Like this is a great spot for reaction because beyond that, like there's nothing. This volume imbalance has been rebalanced to, I mean, obviously there's 50% of the range, but what do we have? A low at 918. So that's a New York AM low. And then looks like maybe a couple relative equal lows. Here we go. Here we go. Fair value gap right there. Look at that. Fair value gap at 773. Clean this up here a little bit. So just drawing in these fair value gaps. This one's already been mostly mitigated, but we just swept the low and sometimes it likes to do that. It'll come back down into a gap. It'll take that low and it'll leave just a tiny bit of that gap unfilled. We have 12 minutes left on this 1 hour candle, 12 minutes left on this 15-minute candle. Look at that. Looks like YM is actually getting in sync a little bit with NQ. We do have a nice 2-minute fair value gap right there. Let's see where it closes. 40 seconds. We've wiped out a bunch of liquidity. We've tapped into the previous day low. We have local SMT. We have higher time frame SMT. We'll technically be in a macro, so everything I would like to see is in this setup, unless I'm just completely offside, in which case I will get stopped out. But I don't know. So even right there, look at this. So now I'm not going to get the close above. Okay. So likely more down, or it consolidates, in which case I don't have interest in that. Maybe if the next candle closes above, I would still take it, but many more than that, and I'm not interested. And it wants more downside. Maybe so. That Asia low still pretty close right there. This is a great spot for price to turn around. So kind of want to see it do it in this zone here. Maybe a little bit lower is fine because it can color outside the lines, but at that point, I don't have any options for longs pretty much below there by much. I also have no short setup here too either. Let's see what it does. It could consolidate. I want to see. Oh, there is still a little tiny gap right here. So there's an unfilled part of that gap, and then there is this gap right here. All right, so we got 5 minutes left on this 4-hour candle, 1-hour candle. So the 1 hour does have a gap here and here. All these little gaps. Okay, we got a 5-minute C2 candle on the 5-minute chart here. We can see, well, two C2s. This candle closed back in this candle's range. And this candle took the low, but then closed back inside this candle's range. Same thing on ES. And YM is just kind of doing its own thing here, kind of consolidating. Kind of doesn't look like it's going to give a V-shaped recovery on the lower time frame. All right, so we've got 2 minutes left on this 1 hour and 4-hour candle. All right, down she goes for more, more, more. So when it starts looking a little bit like this, we're pushing 1200 ticks, 300 handles down. That starts to feel a lot more like the move than the manipulation. The manipulation legs don't want to see them as big as this. Coming down to this previous day low, I was fine with. In here, okay, maybe so. At which point, start to feel like you're just going to be offsides. But sometimes you can catch a mean reversion play. There's all this inefficiency up in here. 15-minute fair value gaps. All right, tapped into that 4-hour fair value gap. Heavy. And this could be one of those days where you just get stomped on, where NQ is in freight train mode. And that was a killer short. Woo-wee. Here's the other thing. Maybe it came up here for these equal highs. It's going to come down here and wipe out some of this trend line liquidity first before sweeping back up and coming for that tailless candle and this all-time high right here, plus these equal highs. This is on the daily chart. So here's this new 4-hour candle. It just opened up and sank. So here's this accumulation phase in conjunction with this fair value gap. Like that's a actually reasonable spot for a response. Just super heavy. YM is still in this wedge pattern. So here's a 30-second inversion and breaker in it. Had I seen it in time, I might have taken it, but didn't see it. And for sure, a riskier play when it gets this heavy. But and like this candle right here, this 1 minute candle, I don't like how it tapped into this fair value gap by a tick and then rejected. So maybe I would like to see if like this one just snapped up aggressively. Cool. But if it just kind of peters up and works its way back up in here, then I'm not interested. I want to see the kind of aggression that we saw coming down going back up. Otherwise, it's just consolidation. Hmm. Curious to see if Dodgy took a trade yet or Hydra took a trade. Oh, looks like Dodgy did short. He entered before 9. So did Hydra. Dang. He kind of freestyled it. Beautiful, but not what I do. That's interesting. Because like I was all for a short, but there was no model for me, and they both kind of freestyled it. I can't even. Yeah, let's go back and look at what Ryan did. He was on a 15-minute chart. Gosh, yeah. See, like an IFVG like that, with all this liquidity above. Hmm, it's almost like Hydra was on a 30-second chart. Now he's on a 1 minute. He just shorted an order blocks. Beautiful. So the 5 minute looks clean enough. If the 5 minute closed above and confirmed, I could take a 5 minute long. 3 minute might be a little aggressive, but acceptable. What I wouldn't trust is a 1 minute candle closing above because of this consolidation. And pretty much if I don't get a long out of here, my day's probably done. Um, just not seeing anywhere else I can do anything. And I also wouldn't want to short this. It's already moved so much. I wouldn't want to short this already. 1,600 points. Look at this 3 minute candle. It really doesn't give me much confidence. Ugh. Hmm. She wants more downside. Look at that. We had 830 unemployment claims, didn't we? Didn't really do much, did it? We do have a local SMT plus higher time frame SMTs. The new week opening gap is below. Right there, already kind of played in it a little bit. That's interesting. Wonder if ICT is still live. Yep. So here is the weekly 12 a.m. Coming back for that probably. I'm pretty, I think I'm good for the day. If there wasn't a trade down in here, then there's no trade for me today. Nope, not V-shaped. So I'm out. I'm going to be done for the day, which is okay. That's how it goes some days. So yeah,